we go.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Addicted to the Q. I'm Brian, Sofa King. We've got the bum, Kevin Hesse. We've got Brad, Meets My Mistress, Addicted to the Q. And our special guest today, we got Flat Stanley Sam. He is Sudden Sam's Barbecue, Mr. Little Meat Marshmallow Man himself, Sam Burton.
Oh, Sam, we got all kinds of nicknames.
Oh, dude, I've got a list of nicknames a mile long. I've actually got a nickname at the restaurant.
Oh,
What is it?
Joe's probably going to see this, but it's actually Redneck Randy.
Redneck Randy.
Did Joe give you that one?
He did.
I could see that, him giving you that nickname.
That's funny.
Actually, it was him and Mike both.
That's funny. Well, for those of you that are listening and not actually watching, behind my screen, I have a snapshot of Sam from the little Facebook video they posted earlier. It's probably his most flattering picture he's ever had. So I don't know. That's where the Flat Stanley came from there. But that's awesome. How you doing tonight, Sam?
Doing good.
Yeah.
Been busy with work and home life. My wife and I were getting ready to redo our kitchen complete gut job and whatnot. So getting ready for that.
I've been there. I didn't do it all myself. I did do a lot of the demo, but it's however long you think it's going to take, add twice as much.
It's usually double or triple. But
yeah.
Back before I worked at the restaurant, it's that I did that kind of stuff, so it's nothing new to me. So I'm doing the whole thing by myself.
Well, that's cool. Save yourself some money, man. Why not?
So
exactly.
What do you do at SLAPS for those?
SLAPS Barbecue, the best barbecue restaurant in Kansas City, is where Sam Burton works. If anybody's tuning in doesn't know, so
thanks for that, Kevin.
You haven't gone there. I suggest you go.
I'm actually one of the pitmasters there. I actually started working there in August of 2017. But with that being said, I've been doing barbecue in total, even before that. In total, I've been doing barbecue between competitions and stuff, probably a total of 15 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Basically, how it worked out is, I was just working some dead-end jobs, and I was tired of, just going with the flow type of thing. And I wanted to find something that I love. I mean, I always worked good jobs, but I never had a job that I absolutely loved. It'd be days that I'd go into work and I'm just like, man, I just really don't want to go. And I actually known Joe prior to him opening up the restaurant. The church in Lee Summit that I went to with my family, he was actually like the sound guy. So he like ran the soundboard and stuff like that. So I didn't actually have a relationship with him, but I knew who he was.
So he was almost kind of TV Joe before he was TV Joe with the sound.
He was. So funny story. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. I think it's on SLAP's Facebook page. But their introduction video to Pitmasters. I don't know if you guys.
It's been a long time, but
if you guys go back to SLAP's Facebook page, you can find it. That was made with all the church equipment.
A quick shout out to our sponsors, King Louie's Meat Apostle Barbecue Rub, Inkbird Thermometers, Rum Runners Barbecue, Butcher Barbecue and all their goodies, Springer Mountain Farms Chicken, the best charcoal out there, the Good Charcoal Company, the only Vortex drum, Hunsaker Drums. Now back to Brian, Brad, and the bum.
That's awesome.
But I'll give him that. I'll give him this. It was one of the best introduction videos out of all of them that season.
Yeah. It's I remember it. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen that. I love watching those old ones like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
So you met Joe and things kind of progressed from there? Or?
No, I always knew who he was. And then when Pitmasters came around, I started watching it. And that was really when my barbecue journey started, because that's when I started getting into it myself. I bought a cheap $85 offset smoker from Walmart and started just tinkering with stuff on it. And then Pitmasters came on. I was like, wow, that sounds like a really cool show. So I started watching it, and then the seasons progressed because I think Joe was in like season 5 or something like that.
Mhm.
And that season came on, and I'm like, holy crap, I know that guy. I've seen him. And at that point, I was getting tired of working, these dead end jobs. And so I was friends with him on Facebook, and I reached out to him. I was like, hey, shot in the dark, but are you guys hiring by any chance? I want to make barbecue a living. And it took probably, I think, 2 months for him to respond back. But
Sounds about right.
but he finally responded back. Is like, as a matter of fact, yeah, we are. And so I initially started out at the restaurant as a manager, like a shift lead. And I did that for a while, and uh it wasn't my thing. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
It was way different, and I didn't do bad at it or anything like that. I just didn't it wasn't my thing. And so Joe's brother Mike, who's also part owner of the restaurant, he came up to me one day because I had mentioned, I was like, hey, I want to be pitmaster one day because that's what I love.
Yeah.
And sure enough, a job came open for that. And so I think that was in about 2018, somewhere in there. I can't remember exactly what part of the year, but somewhere around 2018, because I started there in 17. But anyway, I've been pitmaster ever since.
What were you? Because I know what you guys cook on now, but what were you cooking on back then? Were you
We were
cooking on
still,
that? Were you on those? The
yeah,
no,
yep,
I can't
old
think.
hickories.
Oh, hickories. Yeah, that's. I'm like, why couldn't I
Yep.
think?
So we had one of them when I first started. We run the EDX models, which I think is like one of their bigger models, if I'm not mistaken.
No, they're not small.
Yeah, we had one of them when I first started. Now we have three.
Yeah, they're full. Every time I've been there,
They
you're
run
pulling stuff
24/7.
off. Yeah, yeah. That so what? I guess talk about. I mean, you transition to that, and nobody becomes a pitmaster overnight. Talk
No.
about that. I guess obviously you worked probably the least desirable shift, more likely. How did you learn all that stuff and slowly get to the point where you are now, where you're? I mean, you are. I know there's more than just you there, but you're like the guy there. Making sure that the product is consistent, and that's why people
Right.
continually go. So talk about that.
Pitmaster, yeah. Pitmaster wise, I'm the most seasoned. We actually just got a few more recently, but we got a total of 4 pitmasters now.
Oh wow.
And I am the most seasoned. Uh, Technically, we have more than that because we actually have pitmasters that run during the day to throw, extras on and stuff and put the cook on for the night and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But I've been doing it the longest out of anybody. And basically, how I learned how to do barbecue, period, YouTube, man.
Yeah.
That's how I've learned almost everything that I've ever done. How to fix stuff, how to cook, stuff like that. And
Uh-huh.
it's been a great teaching tool. Everybody asks me, they're like, who taught you this? I was like, random people on the internet.
I don't know their names, but I can show you them.
But
So,
and it was just basically the thing is like, excuse me, I would take what I was learning from those people on YouTube and make it my own.
Mhm.
Put my own little twist on it and stuff like that. And it's progressed from there. And then being at the restaurant and then being under Joe's wing, that has just raised that bar exponentially. Like it is just insane being under him and learning from him day in and day out.
I can only imagine he's probably forgotten more than our collective faces on this screen right now will ever learn. It just his knowledge base. Um, did he start you? Okay, you're going to be responsible for ribs, but you ain't touching any brisket yet, or did he? Was there anything like that, or was it just kind of slowly
It
work
was
through everything?
it was baptism by fire. You learn
Yeah.
it all right then and there.
Well, there's probably no.
So
It's not like Slaps isn't huge for those who haven't been, and shame on you if you haven't. But so yeah, it's not like you have hundreds of people running around. You're probably having to do everything all at once. So it's
right. Well,
yeah.
and up until recently, there was one day a week I worked by myself.
What?
Dang.
Every
Oh,
Monday. So yeah, that just changed recently, but up until then, Monday and Tuesday we only had one pitmaster in the early mornings.
oh man, that's
That's a
So
lot of meat to
it-
handle.
that's that's what
I'm,
my
I'm
wife.
good at it.
That's
Brian.
what my wife says all the time.
After dark.
Yeah, this would be the one that she watches.
Yeah. So whose idea was it for you to use the little meat marshmallow tag?
That's honestly what I've always told them.
Really?
That's how I describe them to people.
I thought that was like awesome. I was like, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, and even when I'm training people, like when to take them off, I'm like, stick the probe in there, but you're almost wanting it like a marshmallow texture.
Yeah, and I can see it when you say that how a point should feel when you're doing
Yep.
that or probing it. You're exactly right.
Soft but not mush.
When I took that screenshot, I was hoping that it was going to say that across the screen, and I must because Brian told me what he was going to do.
I've described them that way as long as I can remember.
Yeah. I love burn-ins. That's
It's one of my favorites.
Well, and Kansas City, obviously that's where burn-ins were created. It's where, but not everybody. Honestly, I will say, probably half the restaurants in Kansas City don't do them right. I don't think.
Exactly.
And so, but the consistency, as I've mentioned before, when you go into SLAPS, and there was a short time period where I worked really close, and I think I funded new smokers for half of Joe's comp season because I paid for a lot of stuff through the company. But
I remember those days because we would always meet up.
Exactly. But I mean, it was always like you knew exactly what you're going to get every time you went there. You didn't have to worry about it, and that's what
that's something Joe just nails into us on a daily basis. That's probably one of the most important things that we have to watch out for as pitmasters is the consistency.
I think it needs to be that way in a restaurant because I've been places where I'll get food one day and it's amazing, and the next day and it's like, what happened? Like,
yep.
And I will say the burnt ends are by far my wife's favorite, and they were outstanding.
Well, and one thing, because I've had people come from out of town and they've gone and they're like, and I think I messaged Sam once, they're like, hey man, I didn't think things were that good. I'm like, well, one, when you're cooking food for the day and not cooking for multiple days ahead, like a lot of restaurants do, and stuff, I said, there's going to be times when something may not come out right. I go, who knows? I go, but overall, I'm like, you're there. You've eaten one. You're talking about one time you visited out of 365 days. So don't knock a restaurant. If you go there multiple times, there's issues. Then that's a whole nother.
That's different. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
We got there
especially when you're cooking the amount.
And the line was like out the door and never stopped the entire time till you guys closed. And I was like,
and they get people through there quick.
Oh yeah, it moves fast. Even back in the day before you had the outdoor seating. Remember the first time I went, people are eating and you're standing there walking around the table. And I'm like, yeah, we're getting this to go.
I remember the first time I ever ate there. Obviously, I wasn't working there yet, but I knew it was there and I knew Joe. I ate standing up right there in that dining room.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. So, I don't know. Let me come back to my question. I know there's Brian or Brad.
So,
you guys do.
What, just outside of SLAPS, what smokers do you have? We know what they have, but what do you have that you cook on?
So I have a offset smoker that is mounted on a trailer. Well, it's a trailer. What do they call that? An enclosed model, I guess.
Yeah.
But it looks kind of like an outlaw. It's got the trailer hitch. You know, I pull the whole thing with my SUV. But anyway, it's a guy out of Indiana. His name's Steve Hughes. He's actually an SCA cook, one of the top SCA cooks for a little while now. He's kind of taken a break, um, but he built it, and actually he reached out to me on Facebook. Didn't know him from Adam, and he was like, "Hey, I want you to try out my smoker for competition and whatnot." And I was like, "Okay, how much you want for it?" And he told me, and I was like, "Nope, can't afford it." And he was like, "Give it a couple weeks, think about it." I was like, "Okay." And he came back, and he was like, "So what'd you think about it?" And I was like, "Yeah, still can't afford it." He was like, "Well, I'm gonna trailer it up for you and bring it up to Kansas City, and we'll meet and let you cook on it for a season and see how it goes." I cooked on it that season. I was like, "Okay, here's your money."
Nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've seen it at a couple of different comps, man. It's a nice smoker that you've got.
You have a barbecue addiction when your smoker has nicer rims than your car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I've got that one. That's my competition rig, and I also use it for like family events and stuff because I'm one of 10 kids. So anytime my family gets together, it's a lot. And then I've got 2 Weber kettles, and then I've got a Blackstone. And I'll tell you what, my Weber kettle gets the most use out of anything. My Weber kettle and my Blackstone.
When was I at your house? Is that not last year, year before?
Something like that, yeah.
Did you have the Blackstone then?
Probably. All that stuff's out back. I don't know if you saw it.
I don't know.
It's just the little 2-burner one.
You might have had it. I remember the competition smoker because I kept threatening that I was going to hook it up to my truck.
Yeah. So did your buddy that pulled up.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a nice rig.
So let's talk about competitions. I mean, obviously, you work. You're not on Joe's schedule for competitions. None of us are. But you've done a good number of competitions over the years. I mean, I was looking at barbecue data. You started back in looks like 15, according to them. But talk about what you've done, any success you've had, and are you a single cook or you got a teammates? What do you do? Talk about it.
So I know that first contest you're talking about in 2015. I think that was Edwardsville days, and that was when I was living out in Edwardsville. And
Smoking in the Ville, is that what they called it?
Yep, that was it. And I remember it rained its ever-loving butt off. And this contest was literally 2 blocks from my house. So I was like, I got to do this. And, I went out there and, I've got my 2 offset smokers. I had a Old Country barbecue pits, which those are the big metal ones they sell at Academy, the all welded ones. I had that, and then I had my cheap Walmart offset, and I just had a pop-up canopy, and it was just everything got so wet that night. It was so bad. But anyway, I'm sitting here at like 1 o'clock in the morning, cooking low and slow, and I'm like, man, nobody else is cooking right now. What the heck is going on? I'm like, I don't understand this.
So had you worked at SLAPS yet at that point? I don't think.
No.
So you weren't. Okay.
This was 2 years before I started working there. And so, but I'm sitting there in the middle of the night, freezing my butt off, wet as heck. Everything's wet. I'm like, what is going on? 6 o'clock rolls around, and now I start seeing people come out and lighting their pits. I'm like, these guys are so stupid. They don't know what they're doing. All this. And I turn my stuff in. I get it all done. I'm like, man, this stuff's great. DAL in every single one.
No, you didn't. No. I'm looking at barbecue data.
Was it?
You did DAL in chicken. Ribs, you were 28th out of 29. Pork, 27 out of 29. Brisket, 26 out of 29. And
might as well be a DAL.
You got 28, so you didn't get less. So,
but
don't worry, my first comp was just as bad. So
it was so bad. But that was when I learned that you can't just take your backyard stuff, recipes and techniques and whatnot. Shortly after that, I realized the hot and fast method. I've never looked back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell with that sit up all night stuff.
Yep. Nope.
So
Mm-mm.
does that mess with you? Because obviously you're not, of course, different cookers at the restaurant. Talk about the difference between now that you've cooked as much as you have at the restaurant, when you go to do comps, does that mess with your head? Does it take you a bit to rewind on what you're doing and how you're doing things?
No.
No.
When I'm at a contest, everything's scripted. I've got a whole timeline laid out, and so I've got alarms set. Do this at that time. So on and so forth. So it's just like I'm at the restaurant. Because we have a timeline even at the restaurant. Now, granted, I don't have alarms set because I'm there every day, and it's just right in my head. Now,
Yeah.
granted, I don't do competitions enough, so I haven't gotten that ingrained in my head yet. So, but I'm sitting. I mean, you look at my phone at a contest, I've got probably 150 alarms set. I mean, I've got it written down to like minutes. Every 5 minutes there's something that needs to be done.
Yeah.
Well,
So
that I've taken Joe's class. That comes from Joe's class, literally by the minute. Joe even has a nap written into his schedule.
Yes, he does.
At comps, guys. So, and he's like,
Yes, he
and yes, I do. I take a nap. I sit back with the phone on my chest. I set the alarm, and then I wake up. And so,
Yep.
I'll be darned.
Yep.
That was like he said something one time at like I don't remember if it was chicken or ribs. He's like 10:27, not 10:30, 10:27.
Yep.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I always thought that was crazy about him, is like, he doesn't do these even numbers. It's exactly like, 26, 27, odd numbers. I mean, just like, but it makes sense and it works, obviously.
Yeah, I was going to say, process wise, I'm not going to argue with that at all. So
No,
but
not at all.
And it makes sense, like you said, at the restaurant, you're on a schedule for what you're doing. And the big difference, I'm guessing, between the restaurant, yeah, you're cooking the meat, but you're not having to worry about all the preparing it for the customers. So once you cook it, you probably take it to a certain station for all them, versus competition. You're doing every step that goes all the way through to the end.
We do that at the restaurant too.
Oh, do you really? Oh,
Yeah.
shoot.
So we cook it all, we slice it all. I mean, we load the warmers on the front line for them to serve. That's all done by us.
Ah, okay. I've never had you slice any of my stuff up for me, Sam. You're never out front there when I go.
No, because we do it all in back and put it in pans.
Yep.
That's an extra charge, Kevin.
Yeah.
It's a celebrity.
Sam usually messages me because he's already gone home for the day. Thanks for letting me know you're coming. He's like, yeah, I know.
That's what happened to him that day. I said, hey, I'm gonna be at SLAPS. He's like, yeah, I left at 10. I'm like, well, there goes that.
Yeah. When you show up at 4:00 in the morning or whatever time, 3:00, whatever.
Yep. Yeah, I get there at 3:00. I'm usually gone by 10:30, 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Unless it's smoker cleaning day, then I'm there till probably 11:30 or noon.
Yeah, I can imagine that's a messy day.
Yeah, one of the least favorite parts of my job.
Without getting too much entitling on TV Joe, what's he like as a boss? Is he like he is on Pitmasters or the competition, or is it a different? Is Restaurant Joe different than TV Joe?
Keep your job, Sam. Keep your job.
Please.
The name Gordon Ramsay comes to mind. No, honestly, Joe's just like he is out on the competition circuit in the kitchen. He's laid back, he's fun. Don't get me wrong. There's time for him to be serious, and when that time is. You can tell in his face and his demeanor. But for the most part, I mean, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I mean, he's just an amazing person to work with.
Yeah.
So, and I owe so much to him.
Competition wise, have you had the opportunity to, when he's doing a comp, be there and assist him throughout a cook? Have you had that opportunity at all, or?
So not necessarily through the entire cook, but I have gone and ran boxes for him. So I get there, I'm usually working that morning, and so I have to book it from the restaurant.
Yeah.
So like Lenexa, the past few years, I've gone and ran boxes for them just because it's so
Okay.
close to the restaurant. So I
So
usually get there around 11 o'clock.
So you're seeing crunch time, the time that matters. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and he'll even, give me a bite of it or whatever. And he's like, what do you think? Whatnot. Now, granted, my opinion doesn't mean jack squat, but
He's making you feel good. He goes, well, I got to feed Sam while he's here. So.
Tastes just like what I cook at the restaurant.
And meanwhile, you're telling him, I haven't clocked out at all, Joe.
I'm still on the clock. I am in running these boxes.
So out of competition, what's your favorite thing to cook at competition? Out of the four meats,
probably pork.
And it seems like that's been your most successful category.
It is.
Yeah,
it is. So I don't know why I love pork so much. I just do. It's probably one of the easiest ones to trim and one of the easiest ones to cook, in my opinion. But I love I don't know why, but I've always been a pork fan. Like just pork, anything, pork, pulled pork, pork steaks, pork chops. I mean, I just love it all.
Yeah.
So then it's just one of my favorite meats to cook.
Nice.
We eat a lot of pork here at the house too. Pork and chicken are probably the two biggest ones we eat here at the house with the family.
What do you like to cook that's not barbecue at home?
I don't cook barbecue hardly at all at home.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can imagine you're more barbecued out than somebody who just does a lot of comps, let alone. So,
Right.
I mean,
Exactly. Honestly, I'm a comfort food guy. I that's what I cook a lot at home. I mean, you guys see my posts and stuff like that. I love cooking homemade pizzas. I've got the kettle pizza attachment for my Weber kettle. One of the best investments I've ever made for my Weber kettle. I absolutely love that thing. And my kids love it. That's one of their favorite things. Their eyes just get so big when I tell them I'm making homemade pizza.
So talk about that. I've never seen one of those up front in person.
Yes.
That just fits on top
Yep.
of the kettle between the lid, right? Isn't? And then it looks like a pizza
Yep.
oven type thing.
Yep. And it's got a grate inside where your pizza stone goes on the grate, and that's it. And usually the way I set mine up, you can set them up a few different ways, but I'll have the opening facing towards me, and then in the back I create almost like a half moon of my charcoal, and then I put actual splits on my kettle, small splits, but I'll put 2 to 3 oak splits on there and get that thing just roaring. Actually, the first time I did it, so I got a Copperhead Performer that I put that on. First time I ever did it, I actually it's got, how some Webers have that little rubber deal on the top vent. Yeah, I melted that off the first time I ever used it.
Oh wow!
Like that got a little too hot. But
Man.
I mean, when I'm cooking pizzas, I'm running that thing probably between 750, 800 degrees. I'll cook a 12-inch pizza in about 3 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say it ain't gonna take long for a pizza. That sounds like Eddie Murin's Fast Eddie's pellet cooker. I think that thing cooks pizzas in under 4 minutes, if I remember right. It's pretty darn quick that he came out with. So, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
I may have to check one of those out because I don't know. For me to buy a whole new pizza oven, that just doesn't.
And that was kind of my thing, because a lot of those standalone pizza ovens, that's like all they're good for. This is just an attachment. Nothing against those standalone pizza ovens at all. I think they're great. I like the Unis. I can't remember, what was that other one that they sell at American Fire? It's like Alpha or something like that.
Yeah, I mean they're all cool looking. I know they do.
They are
stuff.
But that's about all you can do with them.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. That's why I went with the attachment myself.
I'm gonna look into that.
It's only $90 on Amazon as I'm looking it up right now.
That's not bad.
That's not
bad.
bad.
That's
Or you
cheaper
go
than I bought it for.
you go to Sam's house when he's not around, and you just take it off of his and it's
Yeah.
free.
Well, I don't know. Is that pool open across the street from you?
No.
Well, then I wouldn't go to Sam's because I can't go cook a pizza and enjoy a swim.
No, I'm going to take the attachment with me.
Oh, gotcha.
I mean, I throw a stone on my my PG 500, and that gets pretty hot. But still, it's different. It still takes time versus amplifying all that. So,
Right.
okay, that is pretty cool. Like I said, I've never seen one up close, but I like that. What
I love it.
So talk about the stuff you do at home. Yeah, you haven't done anything in a little while, I don't think. But is it TikTok? Is what you were doing for a while there? You were doing quite a few TikTok videos.
I was.
Like, kind of very phases of your cook and everything. So talk
Yep.
about that. I mean, you've done some pretty cool stuff on there that I'd watch and follow, and that'd give me different ideas to try.
Yeah, it was just something I got. Honestly, it was when COVID started, and I was bored, and I just started making TikTok videos of cooking and whatnot. Like I wasn't out there trying to get 100,000, 1 million followers, and it's just something to have fun, And heck, I don't even know if I've got 1,000 followers right now, and I haven't done anything in a while. I've just been too busy. And I usually get halfway through my cook at home, and I'm like, I probably should have filmed this and made some content, but oh well. But
Yeah.
it was just I was bored and I wanted to teach people, and if I can help somebody and do better in the kitchen at home, because I know that especially like there's a lot of single dads out there that struggle, in kitchen and stuff like that. And if I
Mhm.
can help people like that, then mission accomplished. And that was more or less kind of my goal, is just to help people. I ain't trying to become an influencer or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what did you make that had onions in it tonight?
I made goulash.
Goulash. That's funny because I do the same thing. I used to do the same thing growing up. My mom would be like, "They're so small, you can't find them, you can't taste them." Yep, here's one. Yep, here's
Yep, I
one.
was sitting there. My daughter, she's 5 years old, and she sits there. Dad, did you put onions in this? And I'm like, they're so small, you can't even find them or taste them. And sure enough, 5 seconds later, you mean like this one? And like 30 times after that, she kept pulling them out, pulling them out. I'm like, child.
Yeah, that's my oldest is 21 and still doesn't want anything to do with onions. And she came over last Sunday, and I can't even remember what I made, but I diced up onions. She goes, "You put onions in this, didn't you?" I said, "I'm not gonna lie, because I said, "Yes, I did." And she sat there and picked out all the freaking onions.
That's
So,
my oldest knows. She doesn't like onions. I'm like, I don't care. I like it how it flavors certain things. You can pick them out or
Yep,
don't eat.
exactly.
yeah.
That's the way I am, Brian. I love
I
them.
was the kid that picked them out, and still
mean,
to
Yeah.
this day.
I will stand next to any one of you guys. Well, if you like onions and you're chopping it, I will literally grab a raw one just to nibble on it.
Yeah, no, I can't do that.
Oh, I do.
Yeah,
No.
it's no. I'm not that. I like cooking with them, especially caramel. I love. Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
I made Philly
Oh.
cheesesteaks type of deal. So as
Caramelized, yeah.
caramelized onions and everything brings out such great flavor, I think. So
Oh, yeah.
It does.
yeah,
It's that burnt flavor. That's what I like about it.
yeah, it's
Dang it,
caramel.
Kevin. Now you're making me want French onion soup.
Oh yeah. Side note: I went to Panera Bread earlier this week, and their French onion soup used to be pretty good. I got a bowl of it, and I'm like, "What is this?" They changed their recipe. I'm like, "Okay, last time I'm ordering that here." I love French onion soup though, homemade fresh
do.
onions. Yeah,
It takes forever though. I'm actually I'm researching right now. I'm gonna actually start making my own sourdough bread.
Yeah.
that's been the trend for a while.
It is.
Yeah, you had posted something. So Katie Doherty,
Yeah.
Breaking Slabs, she's done a whole bunch with that, and actually, is it Bunny?
Bunny Tuttle.
Tuttle? I think Bunny started to get into it too. I saw.
Someone else did, I saw.
But yeah,
Katie brought one.
I've been wanting to before it even.
Royals.
I've been wanting to before it even started taking off. It's just the sourdough starter just intimidates me.
yeah. Katie brought some to Osage City, and I tasted it. She goes, "Here, I brought you a piece," and man, it's good. I love sourdough bread. So good.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too.
I don't have the patience to try and make it myself. I'd love to. I'll have somebody else do it and I'll just eat it. So make sandwiches out of it or whatever. Honestly, that's what I use in the morning. I have it sliced thin and I do avocado toast with it on there. I just like it that way. So what's you say comfort foods, but what's your go-to meal? If you had your choice for the family, or like, no, you cook what you want, Sam, for the family. Say your big family, say you got 10 siblings, 1 of 10. What would you cook for everybody if you had your thing? What was your go-to?
Jambalaya.
I couldn't remember as jambalaya or gumbo you were going to say. I figured that's what it was because I remember you making that over COVID. So
I do that so much just all sorts of Cajun. And honestly, where I got the love of it is one of our old pitmasters. He's retired now, but his name was Skip. And man, he had spent so much time down in Louisiana. He really learned how to make stuff properly. And I learned a lot from him on how to do stuff like, real Cajun cooking. And it is just, I fell in love with it because he would always make it, the night before and then bring it in early in the morning. We'd have jambalaya for breakfast.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well,
you're there you're there so early. It's like a midday meal, right? So
Exactly. So that's where my love of Cajun, because honestly, if I had one type of food to choose to eat for the rest of my life, it'd be Cajun or Creole, one of those, and I would die a happy man.
Yeah.
So what is the difference between, and this is a Midwest boy from Nebraska, what's the difference between Cajun and Creole? Aren't they the same?
No. So if I remember right, Brad, you might Google this to find out, to verify, but if I remember right, I think Creole is more of your down south type Louisiana, and
Okay.
I think they use like more tomatoey stuff in their recipes, whereas Cajun, I think, is where you get the more spicy stuff, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I could be completely wrong on that, but I do know there is a difference.
And I guess I kind of knew in the back of my mind that there is a difference. I never knew the difference. Here in Kansas City, we don't have a whole lot of, in their Cajun restaurants is what they are. They're not Creole. So
right.
We do have Creole seasoning here at our house. We put on our scrambled eggs, but I don't know.
What you got there, Brad?
You nailed it. Creole food typically uses tomato and tomato-based sauces, while Cajun does not.
Wow. Sam knew what he was talking about. Look at that.
Well, and they get
I got to thank Skip on that one.
And they get into a little bit of the history, and it had something to do with the races too, and the way that they cooked in the South. That's what I'm going to get into on the race.
Actually, I'm still watching some of the old Good Eats on with Alton Brown, and actually there's one on Creole and Cajun food that was up next. I was going to watch next, so I'm going to have to go watch that. So
Sam, quick question: when you're cooking at a competition, and you got a nice fat slab of ribs, is it fat cap up or down?
You would ask a question like that, Brian. Neither.
If you got a fat cap on your ribs, you're in trouble, Brian. Maybe that's been your issue.
Have you been cooking pork butt for ribs?
I just had to
Pretty
ask.
sure that's frowned upon.
So at the restaurant, what kind of wood do you guys use? Is it a certain kind, or you use what's available, or
Mixture of oak and hickory.
oak and hickory?
Yeah, during the wintertime, we'll get a little more oak just because it helps keep the heat. It burns hotter.
Yep.
More
those things are well insulated, but putting a few more splits of oak in there definitely helps.
Now, of all the meats you guys serve at the restaurant, which one's your favorite? Is it pork there too to cook, or do you like the burnt ends, or what's your favorite to make while you're there?
It's right there.
Burnt ends.
Meat marshmallows.
Meat marshmallows.
Yeah.
I will have to say that's probably what you guys are famous for. Those
Yeah, I would say ribs and burn ends are the two top things that we're famous for. That and the potato casserole.
The turkey
Now,
was really good too.
I know some restaurants with when you make burn ends at restaurants. I know everyone's different. The one we worked at, we did the whole brisket, trim the point, re-season, throw back in. Is that how you guys do it, or do you trim that point off before you cook?
No, they come in trimmed.
Okay.
That was back in your day, Brian. That probably wasn't an option.
Yeah. Back in my day, it was you get a packer and that's that.
Yeah. Time is money, I'm sure, for Sam and them to separate all that and everything would be a nightmare.
Yes.
So. Yep. Well, when you're cooking about 1,000 pounds a day.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's a lot.
1,000 pounds a day. Damn. That's crazy.
Now, if you have a cooler that ever breaks down, I have some refrigerators at my house I could support you guys with. But it's got to stay at my house.
And if the brisket leaves, he has no idea what happened.
Well, good thing those are under lock and key.
Darn it.
So I know, between busy with work and family stuff, I know the last year or so, I don't think you've been able to get out on the competition circuit. Do you have? Has it been 2 years? Okay, I couldn't remember. I think the last time I recall, I remember you were at Osage City when Robert and I were there, if I remember correctly, that 1 year. So.
Well, I came and helped him, but I wasn't cooking.
Oh, okay.
Last time I actually cooked was Osage 21.
21. Okay, so that was 2 years ago then. So,
what's
do you have timetable? You looking at possibly doing one or two this year, or slowly moving back into it, depending on?
I'm gonna be.
You mentioned you're remodeling your kitchen, so.
Definitely going to be getting back into it this year. I think I'm slated to do 4 at least.
Good.
One of those being the American Royal, which I haven't done since 2019.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to get back out there, and I'm not like Joe. I'm not looking to chase points. I'm not going out there to get 20 to 30 contests a year. No. And I actually, you and I talked about this privately, Kevin. Going to be looking at a trailer here before too long.
Oh, nice.
Hey, that's awesome. That's a good thing.
Need to get the home stuff done first, and then the trailer will probably come later.
Well, and that's one of those things that it's I've only had my trailer. I guess I'm going on my 3rd year, and I always thought, it makes a world of difference when you just can get out of the elements. It does
100%. And that was one of the reasons I was so frustrated in the last time I had cooked Osage. I don't know if you were there that year, Kevin.
21. But, I was. Yeah, because I didn't do it I did not get to do it that year. Yeah.
Well, you know me, I cook out of a pop-up tent.
Yeah.
And so I got all my meat rubbed, and I got one of those double stack Cambros that I keep it. I'll put a tray of ice in there and keep all my meat cold overnight. Well, about the time I was getting ready to go into the truck to go to bed, it was about 8:30 or so. Freaking microburst comes through and just wrecks everything. Toppled over my Cambro, all my meat went flying. Everything was just destroyed. I'm sitting there just I can't. I don't know what to do. So I gathered everything up, and I ended up cooking. Big shout out to Travis Duffy, because he was the one that really helped me the next morning, because
I was there.
Lost almost everything.
Yeah, I was there because I remember Duffy had helped you out. So yes. Okay.
Yeah, because he helped me with pans. My charcoal got wet and stuff, so he helped me out with that. It was not, my scores did not bode well, because I was also having smoker issues the next morning, and it was a bad deal. And I finally just said, you know what? I'm not cooking again until I have a trailer, but obviously that's not happening.
Well, that was the year in that place. Always like this year.
I don't know what it is about Osage and weather. It's always weird.
That was the year. At least 2 people. I remember I watched somebody's Easy Up by me go straight up in the air and then crash into somebody's truck. I think Breaking SLAPS cooked that comp their first Masters comp, and they lost it. They almost went home because everything got destroyed.
Three teams did go home from that contest.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And then, just a couple weeks ago, it was 60-mile-an-hour winds, consistent. I gave old damn fine beef and swine was next to me. I gave him a hard time because he's blocking the sun. It made it chilly, and he goes, "I'm also blocking the wind for you." I said, "Good point. Never mind. Stay right there." So
yeah. I don't know what it is. I've heard this from multiple people, but Osage always seems to have weird weather, and I don't know why.
They had snow. I wasn't cooking then, but they had snow there one year.
I heard about that
too. Not minor, like a lot of snow. So it's Kansas. It's Kansas in April. What do you expect? I mean,
you can expect literally every season in one day.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Actually, there was 2 tornadoes near Osage City yesterday. Because I was down at the battery plant to meet with some contractors. They're like, "Oh yeah," because Osage is like only 20 miles away, and they're like, "Yeah, there's 2 tornadoes down that way." I was like, "Well, good thing it didn't happen a week ago when I was there." So, yeah, that's just Midwest weather. Well, that's good. I'm glad you're going to be out there. Hopefully, you and I'll be able to cook at one. Obviously, I'll be at the Royal, but hopefully, we'll get to cook at one. At the same time.
I was supposed to be cooking Sugar Creek at the end of this month, but we've just got too much catering going out that weekend at work. And Joe said it's just he needs me there at the restaurant, which okay.
Yep. No, that makes sense. Well, there's the good thing about being in Kansas City. I always say you can throw a rock and hit a competition most of the time.
Yep.
May is about the only time you can't. I don't understand that one, but I
don't understand that one.
For the most part, you can. I actually decided I'm going to cook. I haven't signed. I got to sign up. I'm going to cook McLeod for the first time ever, first weekend in June, which that's pretty close. So maybe see if that works in your schedule. I don't know. So what else is going on in Sam's world? What do you got? Any other exciting cooking plans no? Just
nothing crazy.
Yeah.
I know I think for the 4th of July my family is going to do a crawfish boil. It's going to be a crawfish bowl for almost 100 people.
Wow.
So
That sounds
what's that, Brian?
That'll be fun.
Yeah. We did it one year for the 4th of July, and we've always wanted to do it again, and we're finally getting to it because, like I said before, I'm one of 10 kids, and there's 27, 28 grandkids, and we're all kind of spread out right now. So I got a brother and his family in California. He's in the Marine Corps. Got another one. He's in the Army. Him and his family, they're in Kentucky. And then I got a brother and his wife in Joplin. Other than that, everybody else lives in the Kansas City area.
Okay.
But everybody is going to be home for the 4th of July this year. So
that'll be good. Yeah, that'll be good. Definitely.
Needless to say, my family doesn't get together in its entirety very often because my brother is in the Marine Corps. He actually just moved to California recently after being in Germany for 3.5 years.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes it a little tough. That's for sure.
Yeah. That's like us. My wife's one of 6, and grandkids. I don't know. We equal 38 people. It's like getting everyone together. Different parts of the country is hard. So we did.
It is.
What did we do? Gulf Shores last year. Made it to where everyone would go. It was fun.
I bet.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, my dad keeps making the joke, he's got 10 kids, and if everybody ends up having 10 kids apiece, and that's 100 grandchildren, I'm like, nope.
Yeah, there's
not happening.
they make things to avoid that these days.
Sorry, Dad.
Exactly.
I think they had more free time back then. We didn't have as much TV to watch at night.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny because a lot of people that I talk to, I'm talking to them about my family. I was like, yeah, I'm one of 10 kids. Like, are you Catholic? Nope.
Yeah. The rhythmic method does not work.
and to top it off, my mom homeschooled every single one of us all through high school.
Yeah, God bless that woman. That's for sure.
And mind you, my siblings is 8 boys and 2 girls.
Oh. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Was her hair white?
With that,
Was her hair gray?
You guys wear slick?
I don't know how my mom. I don't know how my mom homeschooled all of us, did rodeo with us, and did football all the way through high school.
That's crazy. Yeah, my
Probably
brother-in-law, they just sent their kids to regular school. They homeschooled up until 5th grade. It's like, we're done. We are done.
Yeah, it takes a special kind of patience. And
It does.
Yeah, and you get in a process. I'm sure if you get in the process, the flow, it becomes part of normal life, and that's what
I'll say we're starting to homeschool our 2 younger ones this summer. So I think we're starting that in August.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I remember. I think you were talking about starting that. So that's, I mean,
both my wife and I both were homeschooled, so I mean we all understand it, and it's a combined effort between. Because I'm not teaching the kids, that's for sure. All right.
Well, if you do, you got to get on YouTube to learn how.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I had to get on YouTube to figure out how to do some of the homework to help with these days.
Yeah.
Right. But no, between my wife and her mom, it's going to be a combined effort to homeschool the kids. Because when my wife and I both work, they go to her parents' house up in North Kansas City. So, because my wife works overnight.
Yeah, cool. Well, do you have any sponsors at all that you want to give a shout out to, Sam, or anybody you want to recognize for anything at all?
I'll give 2 of them. One of them you guys already know, and that's SLAPS Barbecue, best barbecue restaurant in the city.
Agreed.
And then the other one is Steve Hughes out of Warsaw, Indiana. Been by my side ever since I got that smoker, and anything I've ever needed, he's always been there. And anytime he comes up to Kansas City to compete in an SCA cook, I'm always there with him. And guys are just a great guy in general. Joe is too, his brother. Like I said, if it wasn't for those 3 guys, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's
I owe those 3 guys everything.
To have that support and that mentorship's important for everybody. I think we've all had somebody that's done that for us, so that's great. Did Steve? I need to ask. I remember you and Robert was there with Josh, that cook at Argosy.
Oh, at the
rib
Harrah's.
and wing, or Harrah's, or whatever it was. Was Steve up for that?
He was.
Okay,
I was cooking with him.
Yeah,
I did his ancillaries.
That's right. So I did get to meet him. So yeah, he was a pretty cool guy. That was like 4 years ago. That was just before COVID or right after.
Something like that.
Yeah, I was 19, I think. So
yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, good.
Yep, that's the guy who built my smoker. So
well, that's awesome.
He comes up to Kansas City and does SCA cooks every so often. Like I said, he's hit the trail really hard the last 3 years, and so he's been kind of taking a step back for a little bit. Yeah, I don't even think he went down to Worlds this year.
Well, SCA has become its own beast. It
is.
It's amazing. I've gotten to know Tyson Kanamanu from the Uppercut well, and he does that SCA stuff, and he taught me how to do some things. He goes, "What do you think?" I'm like, it just seems like I'll stick with one thing. I don't need to get into another, So
I'll be honest with you, learning from Steve and working side by side with him, because I'll go down there and just be in his ear while he's doing his steaks, just to learn. I'll tell you what, them competition steaks have ruined me for cooking steaks at home, because I can't cook them any other way now.
It's almost like when I trim a pork butt. Like when I was trimming, I pre-cooked the pork for my daughter's graduation party. And when I was trimming them, I trimmed out the money muscles on all of them. That's just what I'm like, ooh, that's a nice one. I can loop. That went in the freezer for me. The rest of it went for the graduation party. Oh, yeah, that's another nice. That's every time I trim a pork butt, that's what I do. If it's good, I take it off and I keep it. So, yeah, my own collar, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. So,
hey, why not?
Yeah. So, well, cool. You guys have anything else for Sam?
No, we're about
you can think of?
4 minutes, so we're about out of time.
Okay.
If you have any bugs, call our new sponsor for Addicted to the Q, Scout Pest Elimination.
Hey, you can't until we get the check. first.
Yeah, you need to. Come on, Brian.
If I get my new truck and you're at the Royal, let me know, because I have a feeling I'll be back there spraying a couple sites for certain people.
Yeah, that's our
I'll ask
our
you to come spray my site.
our
Exactly.
barbecue compound is usually on grass, and I remember Jim Seeley with Irwin shows up with this little spray bottle from Home Depot. I go, "What are you doing?" I called up Brian. He was there 10 minutes later, spraying the whole grass. We had no bugs. Of course, as late as it's going to be this year, I don't think there's going to be any bugs in it.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Hey, that was actually going to be my question. What's your guys' thought on that about the Royal? I mean, obviously, I know it's due to NASCAR and whatnot, but what do you think about it being in October?
I honestly, I'm okay with it. I mean, I've been in jeans and a t-shirt that time of the year before. Now, granted, that's unusual. So is the bitter freezing cold like it was last year.
Yeah.
But it's going to be cooler. I'd rather have that than the heat.
Yeah.
I cannot
100%, Kevin.
I mean, especially at a big comp like that. It's different if I'm there for 24 hours or whatever it is to cook and I'm going to go home. But when I'm there day in and day out, regardless if there's showers and everything, it just becomes.
I was going to say, because when I was there in 2019, it was the middle of September and we were right by one of the turns. Oh my goodness, it was so miserable. And I had actually borrowed All Forked Up for Q's old red trailer. I was using that weekend.
Yep.
And I ran out of gas in my generator right before turn-in, so we had no air conditioning. Oh, dude, it was miserable.
Yeah, it gets hot. So I'm all for it. I think it'll be a good weekend. I think combined with Greg's BBQ, that he's going to have a record number of people at BBQ.
Oh,
definitely.
definitely.
100 teams at least, or whatever. I don't know if he even has a cap.
Is his the week before or week after?
Weekend before.
Yeah.
So there are already teams calling him saying they're going to come cook that and stay, which makes sense if you're going to make the trip.
It does.
Yeah.
And if you're chasing points too, I mean, it's
right.
So yeah, it'll be it's going to be an exciting time. I think it's going to be fine. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
Plus, then it gets the Royal away from, it was for several years, it was blocking Kearney's weekend, and Kearney's been a comp for 30 some years. I mean, that's just not right. It was colliding with a lot of small comps that we keep losing and we don't want to. So I'm glad it's away from those. So
right. I agree wholeheartedly.
So I guess the only thing I got, and I know this is going to air well after this Friday, but sneak a preview to you guys. I guess these guys know, but the Uppercut is releasing a hot bum brat on Friday. It's going to have not Serrano, poblano peppers with smoked Gouda cheese and bacon and hot bum. So
I'm gonna have to go get me some of those.
They're going to be in the cooler as of Friday morning when they open up. So
I'll run up there after work and grab some.
Should be good. I texted him before this, said, "How many are you going to make?" Because I've already kind of let a few people know. And he goes, "How many do you want me to make?" I go, "I didn't know I had the option of that." But hopefully it goes well. I mean, for them, and then also it becomes like a regular deal for them. I hope so. It sounds good. It was a collaboration.
It's been good to see your rub doing well, Kevin.
Well, I appreciate that. It takes a lot of work. I need the daytime job's keeping me busy. I'm trying to get it going some more, but Brian knows it's nonstop when you're doing it. It's like it is a whole nother job, but it's a fun job. It's like you said, you're doing what you like to do at your job. So this is, I like the barbecue thing. I can talk to people about it and get it out there. So it's all good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I know we're about out of time, but thanks, Sam. I appreciate you making the time for this. I know you got to get up early and stuff for work, but it's great talking to you again, and good learning about SLAPS. And if you have not eaten at SLAPS, go there. You're crazy.
Yes.
In fact, I may need to find time to go there before this week's over with. So
message Sam before you go so he can come out and shake your hand.
This weekend might be in order.
All right. Well, have a good night, guys. Good talking
Thanks,
to you all.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Peace
Appreciate
out,
you.
guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.